Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Kim. I currently live in Japan where I do lifestyle and traveling videos. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for all your love and support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and turn on your post notification bell. That way you'll never miss another video. And without further ado, let's jump into today's video. So on today's video, we'll be talking about how to become an expat. In today's world, we all are looking for a way where we can go overseas, live, travel. We're just looking for better quality of life. And the expat community is definitely growing, the expat and the nomad community. But today we're going to be focusing on the expat community. And how can you do that? How can you leave your home country, successfully move overseas and become an expat? So this is going to probably be a 4-series kind of thing. So this is going to be the first one on how to become an expat. First of all, let's just start by saying what is an expat or who is an expat. So an expat is a person who lives or work overseas who is considered to be temporarily there versus an immigrant who has kind of like settled. Okay, so that's who an expat is. So currently I'm an expat in Japan. I have been living in Japan now for 3 years. It has definitely been a roller coaster, but it's not about me. So let's just jump into how to become an expat. So there's currently 195 countries that you have a choice to choose from to becoming an expat. So what does that mean? That's a lot of research. You have to select what's the best choice for you. My expat journey and your expat journey is going to be completely different journeys. I'll even go as far as to say you can be an expat in the same country with someone and experience something totally different. This is an individual journey and an individual process. So that's the first thing to bear in mind when thinking about becoming an expat. So with talking about choosing from the 195 country, what we're going to talk about is how can you legally become a resident of that country. So you want to think about the where, what country are you going to be moving to, and the how, and how to legally move there. So in selecting the where you would be moving to, you have to think about a number of things, and it's going to be research. So one, you want to think about the climate. Climate is one big factor that you want to consider. What kind of climate do you want? Culture is another one. What kind of culture do you want to be living in? You also want to think about what do you want from this expat journey? What exactly are you seeking? And I actually think that's the number one thing, because what you're seeking from your expat journey is going to help you determine the country that you go to. So are you trying to get financial freedom? Are you looking to travel? Are you looking to just gain cultural awareness, widen your horizon? What exactly are you hoping to find out or hoping to accomplish on this expat journey? That's going to be the most important thing I believe today. So that's going to help you with your where. Now, another factor, a couple more factors that you should be considering when you're thinking about your where to move to is your sexual orientation, your race or ethnicity, your religion, language barriers. What kind of society is it? These are different factors that is going to determine the experience that you will receive being an expat. So for example, if you are a Christian and you move to an atheist country, it's going to be an issue there. Or if it is that you are all for like girl power, equality, and then you move to a patriarchal society, that's going to be an issue, because then as a woman your voice is not going to be heard. So you have to, there's certain factors to think about as well. How are the people from your unique ethnicity treated? Is a big factor as well to consider. Like, how is that going to work? What is the society like? Like where I'm currently in Japan is a homogeneous society, which means that 99% or something like that, I don't remember the percentage right now, of the people are Japanese, and it's like 1% that are foreigners. So that's also something to consider, because there are going to be cultural barriers and you want to limit those things as much as possible. So that's one thing to think about. Sexual orientation, is that something that's going to be frowned on? How is your lifestyle going to be portrayed here? So those are very important factors that you also need to consider before moving overseas. So the how. So to become a legal expat, you want to think about visa, visa, and more visa. So to become an expat, you need a visa. To travel overseas, you're going to need a visa, especially as an expat. So when I'm using the word expat, I'm going to go ahead and become more technical to say this is going to be someone who is going to be living in a country for 3 months or more. So most countries, you have a 3-month mark to be considered a visitor, and after that you're rolling over into permanent residency. You're no longer visiting the country. So when I'm speaking, I'm going to go ahead and shift the conversation to people who are trying to stay in a particular country for longer than 3 months, and we're going to say people who are staying 3 months or less, we're going to call them nomads. So that's another term. Nomads are people that kind of just bounce around like your backpackers. I guess we can interchange the words a little bit, but I'm going to differentiate them. So when I'm talking about expat, I'm talking about people who are willing to stay within a country for 3 months or more. So how? Visas, and more visas. So most countries, you need a visa to stay within the country legally for more than 3 months. So there are going to be some kind of requirement that's needed in order for you to get that visa. Now, every country is different on their requirements on how you could get a long-term visa. And the difference also determines on your citizenship. So if you're an American, you have a certain set of rules and regulations that govern you. And if someone is a Australian or, I don't know, French or Italian, they have a different set of rules that govern them. So each country, think of it this way. So your expat country, what you want to find out is your expat country and your home country, what are their relationship like? So depending on your expat country and your home country, their relationship, they're going to have some kind of agreement where can possibly let you stay overseas easier, getting a long-term visa. For instance, England and Japan currently has an agreement which allows people from the UK to come to Japan on what is called a work and travel visa. So there's different requirements for different places, and you can go ahead and contact me at KimDix Diary on Instagram, and we can talk some more about requirements on how to become an expat with your home country versus the country that you would like to be exclusive with, for a lack of better word, with the country that you would like to potentially move to. So yes, there are different types of visas. Now, the easiest way to become an expat is going to be having a degree. So having a degree, a 4-year degree, is going to open up many opportunities where you could travel overseas and work. Now, what's going to happen is you'll get sponsorship through a job or an agency that will therefore take care of so many things for you. So when you think about your housing, when you think about pension, when you think about healthcare, so all of these things will be taken care of because you're associated with an institution that is preparing you with a job and all the stipulations that comes with that job. So that onboarding process in becoming an expat through a job is going to be the easiest. Now, what about people who don't have a degree? No need to worry. There's also other options available. If you don't have a 4-year degree, depending on your field of study, so if you're in culinary, fashion, certain industry, you don't necessarily need a 4-year degree, or language. You don't need a 4-year degree. You could actually practice your craft overseas and you could get a visa. So there are many different visa types that you can get, and what you're going to need to do is get in where you fit in. That's what you got to do. All you need to do is get in where you fit in. And that's why I say this is going to be an individual journey, because this one person might get in on an instructor visa while somebody else might get in on an artist visa or something like that. So you just need to get here, legally get here, and then once you get your foot in the door, then you can start changing and readjusting and doing exactly what you want. I think that's the most important part of being an expat, is realizing that once you get here, you just need your foot through the door. So it might not be exactly what you want, but while you're here, you could work on whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. So we talk about your 4-year degree, we talk about having experiences depending on your field of study, like culinary or the arts. What about people without no degree at all? Yes, you can, but that's going to determine on your money. So your pocket is going to be what determines you to stay as an expat if you have no degree or you're not getting it through a job. It's going to be based on money. Can you sustain yourself while living in this country? You're going to have to provide your financials to that country's consulate or immigration system to say that you can legally support yourself for the amount of time that you're looking to stay or live in this country. Because most times it depends on the kind of visa that you're entering on, but some expats are not allowed to work depending on the visa that you're on. Okay, so that's another thing to consider as well. And while we're on the topic of financials, as an expat, I will tell you this: always have an exit strategy. And I know you're like, Kimberly, I haven't even decided on where I want to go. How is it that I'm going to have an exit strategy? You need one. So in thinking where you want to go, you also have to think about how you're going to leave and what's going to happen. So in saying that, you need to have your money to leave, because this is not, I think another important factor to remember while thinking about being an expat is the country of your choice, the country where you're going to be living. This is not your country. Your family won't be there. You're going to primarily be in that country by yourself, which means at any moment something can go wrong. You can have an emergency, and this is why you need those extra funds to be able to leave that country immediately. So please go ahead and start thinking about that exit strategy, and most of the times that's going to include funds. You need funds to make sure that you can exit. And while we're on that as well, you also need to make sure you have funds for at least 3 months prior to moving. So you want to think, because moving is expensive. Just think about moving across the world. So you want to go ahead and start saving that money. You want to start saving as much as you can. And within the first 3 months, you're buying everything. You're primarily starting over your life. So you're going to need a lot of funds just for that cushioning of yourself. So you want to have your exit strategy, and you want to have at least 3 months worth of cash on hand, liquid funds that you'll have access to just in case your job doesn't pay your whatever. Emergency funds. You just want emergency funds, guys. Another thing to think about is, what kind of expat experience do you want to have? Are you looking on an expat experience where you want to live and work within the country? Are you looking for one where you just want to study and just live abroad overseas just studying? Are you looking for one where you just want to just travel? There are different kind of expat experiences that you have access to. So that's another thing that you have to determine what exactly, and it goes back to deciding what exactly are you seeking from this opportunity. And from there, you'll decide, you will know what channel you'll need to take in order to get that visa, so you could start your process of moving overseas. So research is going to be your best friend. Okay, you'll have to research everything. And luckily, we're in a world of technology where you could go on IG and you could see, you could follow expats, or go on go on YouTube and just type in expats, or people in Japan, or people in Costa Rica, or wherever it is that you want to go, and you can see or hear about people's experiences. Now, although this information is at your fingertip, I will tell you, be careful, because again, this is the internet and no one necessarily puts out the bad. Very few people will let you in on the bad. Some people, social media is we're in this place, we're in this world where is showcase all the good, is all glitz and glamour, but the dark moments we don't talk about. We hide those moments. So I would say, when you're talking to these people and interacting, you could just shoot them a DM on Instagram or in their comments or whatever it is, however you're interacting with them. But remember those pictures that you're seeing, remember that video that you're seeing, even with me, that this is just a short period of their life. You're experiencing 15 to 20 minutes of their life. This does not denote the 24 hours that they're experiencing in this country or in the country that they're living. That's one thing to consider. Also, shoot them a DM, shoot them a message, and ask them questions, personal questions. Some of them will answer, some might not, I don't know, but at least you try. And I think it's important to realize too, when you're asking these questions or when you're hearing advice from certain expats, is that you need to primarily be asking yourself these things. What country are they from? What's their home country? What did they do prior to becoming an expat? So what job did they do prior to becoming an expat? Their age. You want to find out just a little history about their background, because, and I've seen this all the time, it's going to be different. For example, it's going to be different. People's experiences are going to be different regardless. But let's just put this into context for this argument. So currently I live in Japan. Prior to living in Japan, I lived in North Carolina, USA. And my experience compared to some of my co-workers' experience is totally different. The conversation of expense always comes up, and I'll have co-workers from Jamaica that will say, oh my god, Japan is so cheap, food in Japan is cheap, or this in Japan is cheap. And I'm just looking like, there's nothing in Japan that I find is cheap. Japan is a very expensive country. However, my experience is different from their experience because of where we're from. So their experience is based off their country. In their country, this particular thing would be way more expensive, so it's cheaper for them. But where I'm from, everything else is cheaper. So you have to be careful. So when you hear somebody saying Japan is cheap, hold on a minute, or my country is cheap, you want to dig a little bit further and be like, so where are you from? So you could compare apples to apples, and you're not coming here or going to your expat country, your potential country, because you heard whoever you've been following saying the place have been cheap. You go there and it's just crazy expensive, because based off where you're from, this would not be considered cheap. And also, I have also misinformed people, because, and I too have been able to like discourage expats, and that's why I tell people, you got to go ahead and ask the questions. And I've said this in my videos before, is where I'm from in North Carolina, I drive everywhere. I mean everywhere. I don't walk anywhere. So transitioning to Japan, that was difficult for me because everything was walking. So my transitional period was very difficult, where I hated it. It sucked. But someone who is from an urban city or a country that is constantly walking and used to, I don't want to call it an inconvenience, but not just like jumping in their car and heading wherever they want, it was nothing for them. It was a piece of cake. But if you listen to my onboarding story, it's horrible. I still think it's horrible, but that's based off my life and what I was living prior to moving. So that's why it's important to understand the information where you're getting from, the person that you're getting the information from. You want to find out some background story so you could kind of gauge how they're gauging their experience, whether it being good, bad, in between. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. So I'm gonna go over the key points again, and then I'm gonna wrap this video up because it's getting a little lengthy. So the first thing to think about, there are 195 countries in the world that you can choose to become an expat. The easiest way to become an expat, number two, the easiest way to become an expat is through your college, your 4-year college education. However, you can become an expat without a 4-year degree. That's going to be based off your field of study or your amount of money that you have. 3, your ethnicity, your religion, your culture. What exactly are you looking for within this journey of becoming an expat? And that's going to help you decide in your country of choice. 4, research. You want to go ahead and think about visas, housing. So how is that onboarding process going to be? And 5, savings. You want to save as much money as you can prior to starting your expat journey, because it will be expensive, as you do need their exit strategy money, and you're going to need at least 3 months of funds, liquid funds, that you'll be able to sustain yourself. So on the next episode, so next week Tuesday, we'll talk about things to consider before becoming an expat, and we'll go into some more details from there. Until then, I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and turn on your post notification bell, and comment down below to let me know if you have any questions about becoming an expat. Or you can go ahead and follow me at KimDix Diary on IG. I'll go ahead and put it here if you prefer one-to-one communication, and we can talk a little bit more. I hope this video would have helped you some on ways to starting your journey on becoming an expat. Remember, turn on your post notification bell as we continue going deeper into the subject on how you too can become an expat in the country of your dreams. Until next time, see you. Bye.